Welcome to the Design Rush podcast. I'm your host, Bianca Mayer. Today, we're breaking down the hottest marketing moves in 2024 with PreApps CEO Sean Casto.
We found agencies are really turning to less crowded platforms like Reddit or Discord or Clubhouse to be able to create, highly engaged, targeted, authentic conversations with kind of niche communities.
Agencies are flocking to platforms like Discord and Reddit because they offer deep engagement in smaller, passionate communities. For example, Discord's 186 million plus active users are driving conversations brands can't get on crowded platforms. It's all about being in the right rooms, not just the biggest ones.
So it really comes down to micro influencers in terms of being able to really hone in on that target demographic. So for example, if you have a fitness app, you want to be able to connect with very targeted influencers that may not have millions and millions of followers, but have really engaged users.
Micro-influencers are killing it because they bring real trust. Engagement rates soar with their tight-knit audiences. In fact, 82% of consumers say they trust these smaller voices more than big names. So it's not just about reach, it's about real influence.
Apps that thrive have a laser-focused understanding of their audience and solve a real problem, as opposed to just another copycat dating app. Those that fail often lack this clarity and try just to be too many things at once or just simply copying something that already exists.
And user-first apps are winning big. Brands like Discord stay focused on solving problems for their communities, while apps that push features without listening to users, well, they just fall flat. Stay tuned until the end to learn all about 2024 app marketing wins. And remember to like, subscribe, and hit that bell button to stay updated with all of our future conversations with industry leaders. Now let's get into it. Sean, a very warm welcome to the Design Rush podcast. It is so good having you here with us today.
It's great to be here. Thank you very much for having me.
Of course. Okay, so Sean, I'm going to jump right into this with you, right? Now, my first question for you is, what would you say are the 3 unconventional strategies you've seen agencies use to secure major clients, like leveraging niche social media platforms or unique influencer partnerships? And further, how did these approaches really make a difference?
Absolutely. In terms of the landscape right now, I think it's definitely all over the place. You have new agencies and contractors sparking up every single day, and so obviously that there's the traditional strategies and approaches that agencies will continue to use, but in terms of unconventional strategies, I would say the top 3 that come to mind. Number 1 would be really leveraging more of the niche social media platforms. We found agencies are really turning to less crowded platforms like Reddit or Discord or Clubhouse to be able to create, highly engaged, targeted, authentic conversations with kind of niche communities. For example, a gaming app could tap into a passionate, subreddit community for early adopters and feedback. And so, a lot of these platforms offer those deep engagements without the clutter of the mainstream channels. The second that comes to mind would be really strategic micro-influencer partnerships, kind of really, as opposed to really the influencers with a massive following. It's really connecting with those micro-influencers to be able to connect with extremely loyal and engaged audiences in that specific vertical. Has been pretty effective lately. And then, lastly, the third would be hosting exclusive maybe beta launches and beta test communities, being able to provide that outlet to be able to connect with those that are more looking for exclusive communities to be able to connect with. And LinkedIn is one great source for that as well.
Okay, amazing. So, Sean, again, from your experience with widely successful app launches, with some of the most top apps that are out there right now, I wonder, what are the top 5 traits that consistently differentiate apps that thrive from those that struggle to gain traction?
Yeah, absolutely. At our agency, PreApps, we're the number 1 app marketing agency here in the US, having worked with really thousands of apps from startups to billion-dollar unicorns over the past 14 plus years now. And we've seen it all. over the years, and being able to really tap into and work with the most successful apps in the world, we're able to kind of understand and break down these traits that we can then apply towards our other startups, to be able to really provide that roadmap for success, in terms of how they need to be able to differentiate themselves and be able to provide that outlets and framework to be able to get them in the right direction, because there's so many pitfalls that most face when launching an early stage app. But the top 5 traits that differentiate successful apps from the struggling ones, number 1 would be product market fit. Apps that thrive have a laser focused understanding of their audience and solve a real problem, as opposed to just another copycat dating app. Those that fail often lack this clarity and try to be too many things at once, or just simply copying something that already exists. And going back to the kind of product market fit, what we found is these struggling ones become obsessed with the product and not obsessed with their ideal user, right? And so they're not able to really understand their users' wants and needs better than anyone else. Instead, they're really focusing on the design or the feature that they want to be able to incorporate, as opposed to what users actually want. Number 2 would be having that seamless user experience. The reality is, anyone can create an app these days, but not everyone can be able to create intuitive designs and quick loading times and simple onboarding processes. If an app's first-time user experience isn't flawless, retention is going to plummet. And we see it time and time again with launching these apps, where some apps just have a very cluttered and difficult onboarding experience, and therefore users are less inclined to either sign up and or come back to the app. And that's number 3, is really retention, being focused on not just the download, but how can we create quality users, loyal users, paying users that continue to come back. And that's really a key component. Number 4th would be data-driven growth strategies. The top apps leverage analytics to really understand every user interaction and optimize the app experience and marketing funnels accordingly based on the data. One of our sayings here is, you can't improve what you don't measure, and be able to always understand what the next move is in terms of tracking. And then the 5th would be having really a strong marketing campaign, marketing strategy to be able to really break through the noise and to be able to reach those goals. So many apps don't understand how much time, money, and energy needs to be put towards marketing versus product development. Because the reality is, you can create the most beautiful design, most revolutionary app in the world, but it becomes useless if people don't even know it exists, right? And unfortunately, 90% of apps in the market fail due to lack of discoverability. Not because it's a great product, but lack of discoverability to be able to actually get in front of their target demographic.
Absolutely. Those are some really, really interesting key points that you pointed out there, really. Okay. So actually, you mentioned quite a few good notes there, but I really want to circle back to something quickly with you. You mentioned that there are quite a few pitfalls when agencies are launching apps, right? And I'm wondering, what are those sort of pitfalls that you were talking about? And can you maybe mention 2 and how you can overcome those?
Sure. In terms of pitfalls that most agencies, don't focus on enough when it comes to launching a new app, would be 2. Number 1 would be really having that advanced app store optimization approach to be able to not just create one aspect of how the app is going to appear on the App Store, but multiple. App store optimization is an ongoing process, not a one and done procedure that most incorporate. And so, for example, our team of app store optimization specialists have worked with some of the most successful apps in the world, and the biggest trait there is being able to A/B test assets against each other to be able to have the highest conversion rates. And you can only do that if it's an ongoing strategic process that has a roadmap for the next 6 to 12 months, as opposed to just 1 or 2 months of app store optimization. The second piece there would be really incorporate a very strong search ads component. When I mean by search ads, I'm specifically referring to Google and Apple search. So within the App Store itself, being able to really have those aligned with the App Store optimization piece of things, because if you're able to have the ASO component as well as the paid ads of Apple and Google search, you're able to essentially kind of double your downloads at half the cost if you're able to have both work seamlessly together to be able to rank the highest, on those platforms.
Absolutely. Okay. Now, just moving on a little bit, Sean, with emerging trends like AI-driven marketing and evolving App Store algorithms, I know the AI conversation is getting a bit tired, but it is something that we do need to keep talking about. But in any case, I wonder, with these things really evolving, as I said, what should agency owners really focus on in 2025 to keep their strategies ahead of the curve?
In terms of being able to stay ahead of the curve, I mean, it's just, as you mentioned, AI is going to always be the focus for the future. Having that AI-driven personalization is going to be key, and to be able to stay ahead of it. AI will continue to shape marketing strategies, particularly through hyper-personalization. And agencies must invest in AI tools to be able to create more relevant, automated marketing experiences at scale that are both personalized and engaging.
Mm-hmm. And I wonder, what are you guys doing over at your agency to do that at the moment, to stay ahead of that, sort of AI tools and stuff that's coming out now?
Yeah, I would say, twofold. One, in order to be able to promote our agency itself, we're staying up to date on the latest technologies by going to the seminars, the conferences that are really streamlining, what's useful, what's not useful, and to be able to tap into the most relevant tools and technologies to be able to have us grow at scale and leverage, the right marketing initiatives accordingly. And then when it comes to our clients, leveraging AI to be able to get them to where they need to be faster by leveraging these tools that are more automated when it comes to A/B testing and split testing and creatives and copy. All those things can be streamlined and more effective, leveraging AI.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, Sean, have you at PreApps, come across an issue with AI recently that you've, implemented for one of your clients that you guys had to kind of pivot and do something differently?
In terms of AI specifically, no, we haven't had any issues specifically with AI where we have had to pivot. In terms of, you're always relying on the fundamentals. We've been able to work with the most successful apps in the world the past 14 years because of our framework that we've built and these proven marketing programs that we've mastered. And so we are always going to fall back to the fundamentals and then leverage, AI where we can to be able to fine tune things. But, it's never going to break anything.
Okay. I do wonder though, Sean, what are the 3 most effective channels then for promoting a new app like TikTok or Google UAC, or even like influencer collaborations? And in saying that, or secondary, how should agencies then allocate their marketing budgets across these?
Yeah, it's a great question. The top 3 fundamentals would be, again, really advanced App Store optimization. App Store algorithms are becoming increasingly more complex and user-centric, and agencies need to be able to stay updated on the algorithmic changes and really invest in a strong ASO to be able to ensure consistent results and visibility. Our team has direct relationships with Apple and Google, so we're able to stay up to date on what's working in terms of the app stores in particular. What most don't know is, a majority of all downloads in the world come not from referrals or word of mouth or Facebook ads, but direct app store searching. So organically, in terms of people searching the app store to find apps they're looking for. And so that obviously is going to be the number one kind of priority. Number one channel is really advanced app store optimization to be able to ensure the app is discoverable when people are actually searching for their solution. Amazing. Number 2 would be, on top of that, Apple Search and Google UAC in terms of being able to pay for the right keywords to be able to rank in the top of those search results. similar to Google Ads and web searches in terms of being able to appear on desktop on the top of search results on Google. It's the same concept, but for the app stores, to be able to ensure that your app ranks for, if you have a dating app, making sure that your app is coming number one for that specific search results. And again, both are correlated in terms of Apple search ads and App Store optimization. If you're able to do them effectively, you can essentially double your downloads at half the cost by being able to work together to be able to target the right keywords, as well as obviously having the right conversion tactics to be able to not only get the users, but also convert those users that are coming through the door. And that's where, again, the advanced App Store optimization comes into play, both from a visibility standpoint as well as from a conversion rate standpoint. And then the third would be really securing recognition and media exposure, as well as influencer collaboration. Influencer marketing has high impact when done strategically, particularly on platforms like Instagram or YouTube for lifestyle apps or fitness apps. And so that's kind of a key component that's been changed in the market over the past few years. In terms of PR and media exposure, that's something we've been doing for over a decade now, and been able to secure press and media exposure for all of our clients because of our relationships that we built. And the same kind of now is for micro influencers as well.
Mm-hmm. Speaking of influencers, actually, I'm wondering, do you have like a set way of how you identify which influencer, micro influencer will really fit properly with the client that you're working with?
Yeah, absolutely. So it really comes down to micro influencers in terms of being able to really hone in on that target demographic. So for example, if you have a fitness app, you want to be able to connect with very targeted influencers that may not have millions and millions of followers, but have really engaged users in maybe in the wellness space, who are actively interacting, with their followers, creating more trust and relevance towards that. That's what influencer marketing hasn't really been effective previously, because when people were looking to influencer marketing, they were looking at like Kim Kardashians or those that have millions and millions of followers. But those individuals, they might promote an app and say something about a particular app, and people might download it, but they're not going to actually come back and use the app. So there's a difference between getting someone to download and actually use it. And so that's where kind of the micro influencers kind of come into play, to be able to really connect with those followers and those loyal users, that are engaging users and paying users.
In your work with PreApps, right, I wonder, can you share a time when you had a major setback, like a campaign that underperformed initially, and then led to a breakthrough with the client's acquisition or app growth even?
The first that comes to mind would be, recently we had a campaign for a social app that significantly underperformed for its initial launch, mainly because we were able to quickly realize the issue. And the issue was the target audience wasn't quite aligned with the app's core features. And so we're able to kind of see that early on within the first 30 days, and to be able to really then pivot by refining the keywords, refining the marketing assets, refining the screenshots, the videos, everything to be able to better target the right audience, both from an App Store optimization perspective as well as the Apple search ads perspective. And to be able to quickly adapt and shift the marketing assets and targeting materials, that shift was able to result in a 3 times increase.
Okay, so now, Sean, in terms of key localization strategies or market entry tactics you found to be the most effective, especially for agencies looking to expand into new markets, such as Southeast Asia or Africa, I'm wondering what those are for you at PreApps.
In terms of promoting ourselves, we don't really promote much outside in terms of English-speaking countries. And so our target demographic are really those looking to launch in the US, Canada, the UK, Australia, New Zealand. We don't really market ourselves as an agency outside of those countries. But obviously, in our clients' perspective, we do. We provide the most advanced App Store optimization on the market. And to be able to do so, you need to be able to localize across various different, countries and languages. And so, apps must be fully localized in terms of language and cultural context. And so some of the other agencies and contractors and startups, they might just use Google Translate, for example, to translate their marketing assets, but that's never going to be effective. You must really localize in terms of language and cultural context. For example, offering translations in key regional languages like Bahasa for Southeast Asia, and to be able to really tap into those markets. And we have individuals and teams across the world and globally to be able to make sure that happens in each of those areas that they're looking to target their app in. And the kind of component of that is going to be partnerships, obviously, partnerships with local influencers and individuals there that are going to be able to have a strong understanding of the cultural nuances in that area.
What 3 factors would you say are most important for a successful app launch, and how can agencies really ensure their clients align with these, especially during the critical first 30 days post-app launch?
Yeah, I would say in terms of, if you were to look at, our most successful launches over the years, the top 3 kind of factors would be, number one, they came to us early on. What I mean by that is, they came to us 3, 6, sometimes 12 months prior to launch, and to be able to create the strong foundational marketing components and strategies for a long-term initiative, not just, coming to us, hey, our app is launching tomorrow and we need a 30-day push. That's never going to be effective. You always want to be able to stay ahead of it and have the framework, have the system to be able to launch and then scale and then grow and pivot accordingly. Marketing is not a one and done procedure. And so, there's a lot of pieces to the puzzle when it comes to launching a successful app. And so it's not just one channel is going to get you there when it comes to, for example, people will come to us and they'll be like, we just want to do Facebook ads. And if you just want to do Facebook ads, we're not going to be the agency for you. Just because we know that you're not going to be able to scale the way they want to at an affordable cost just through, Facebook ads, for example. And so we need to incorporate all the pieces of the puzzle when it comes to, obviously, very advanced app store optimization. What I'm referring to is having the right title, subtitle, description, keywords, screenshots. Obviously, videos play a huge component now. So you must have not only one video, but multiple videos that are going to be optimized for each platform. Video for the App Store, video for Google Play, video for social. Being able to incorporate the right press and media exposure upon the first 30 days of launch is also key to be able to get market validation, credibility, and recognition around the app, which most apps don't. And so you want to be able to get that third-party recognition early on. And then obviously, once all of those initiatives are triggering, being able to put fuel on the fire by scaling through paid acquisition, whether that's through Apple or Google or Facebook or TikTok, to be able to then figure out which channel is going to be optimized and best for you, because each platform and each channel is going to be different in terms of the quality of the user and obviously the cost per acquisition. Absolutely. And so those would be the kind of key factors that are kind of required to be able to launch successfully.
Mm-hmm. I wonder, Sean, how can agencies properly communicate their unique value position in the crowded app market space? I feel like this is something not a lot of people speak about, because especially when they're specializing in areas like ASO or influencer marketing, like we've kind of touched upon before.
Yeah, when it comes to agencies in particular, it's difficult because again, there's new agencies popping up practically every single day, and
like by the minute.
And the problem is the lack of experience, I think is the key. And so you want to be, in order to be able to communicate unique value proposition, you need to be able to show your experience, and you can do that through case studies, you can do that through white papers, you can do that through courses, you can do that through books. I mean, we have a best-selling book out there called App Secrets: How to Create a Multi-Million-Dollar App that we published I think like 7 years ago now. And so we also have an online course that we launched about 10 years ago, and have obviously dozens of white papers and case studies and everything you can imagine. And it's just, as an agency, you need to be able to differentiate yourself by having that content, having that recognition, having that communication tools to be able to convey your value and how you're unique and what you focus on. We're unique because we don't do search engine optimization, right? We don't work with clients that are just on the web or e-commerce. We exclusively work with only mobile applications on the App Store and Google Play. And so our services are very, very niche. And so you want to be able to differentiate yourself on the type of users that you are looking for.
Yeah. In your own words, actually, Sean, or in your own opinion, I wonder, what do you think the top benefits are of really niching down with an app agency, for instance, or an app marketing agency, excuse me?
So, the benefits of that is, again, having that expertise. What most don't realize is, offering a startup that maybe has, let's say, an e-commerce business or gyms or fitness of that's kind of a physical component. To market that is very, very different than marketing a mobile app. And so if an agency does both and they offer, for example, search engine optimization and app store optimization, it's kind of telling that they're not going to be proficient in both. And most likely they're going to be more proficient in the web aspect versus mobile. And so that's the kind of the value in niche. Is more and more startups and individuals are looking for someone that can know their market and know their users better than anyone else. And that's kind of what we've honed on and focused on over the past 14 years now. It is really understanding the space and being able to tap into it and have that direct relationship with, let's say, Apple and Google to be able to understand how things are changing and evolving. You can't really replace experience, and you want to be able to have the right experience that is going to work for that specific product. And when you're too general, then again, you're going to get the general result.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. That makes a lot of sense. Sean, just sort of flipping the script a little bit now. I'm going to ask you to do something that you do every single day of your life. And I'm going to ask you to put yourself in your client's shoes, right? Say, for instance, you were one of your clients or a brand that was looking for an app agency or an app marketing agency. What are the specific questions that you would ask an app marketing agency? Like, let's say 4 questions that you would ask them to really make sure that they know what they're doing and that they are going to be a good fit for you.
Yeah, I would say number 1 would be, what is your offering? What do you specialize in? Again, if they offer search engine optimization, if they offer, let's say, app development and things that aren't really focused exclusively on mobile app marketing, it's a huge red flag. Yeah. And so how proficient are they in the mobile app space? How long have they been around for? Did they start up a year or 2 ago, or have they been around since the App Store began? And so, the first question is really understanding their expertise and their offering. Do they offer just Facebook ads, or do they offer all the pieces of the puzzle that are going to be required to support them long term? For example, like app store optimization, like video production, like PR and media exposure, consulting services, and obviously running paid ads. So, can they be that person that can support me long term, or just kind of a quick fix? So that's number 1. Number 2 is, how do you measure success? Challenging the agency to say, this is what we can achieve for you, and this is a long-term plan. And these are all the pieces of the puzzle to be able to achieve your specific goal, and looking to be able to create a long-term sustainable app business. What I'm referring to that is supporting them on retention, supporting them on lifetime value of a customer, and not just a download. Because again, what good is a download if that download was downloaded in India, for example, and the person didn't even use it? So sure, you could have 100,000 downloads, but they're all useless because people aren't actually using the app, and they're not coming back to the app, and they're not paying within the app, et cetera, et cetera. So that's kind of number 2. Number 3 would be, where do you focus on in terms of your office. And so what I mean by that is, where are you based out of? Because there's so many agencies out there now. And unfortunately, what we're seeing is they might say they have a US office, but it's really kind of just a satellite office, and all the work is being done in Pakistan, Ukraine, India, Israel, other locations. And so, if you're looking to market an app in the US, it's important that your team and people that are creating your assets and focusing on your materials are actually based in the US, and not, and the work isn't being done overseas. We see it time and time again. And so if you want to be able to have the most success with your app and target the right user, it's critical that, they're exclusively based in the US market.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And actually, this is a bit of a follow-up as well. Excuse me. What, in your opinion, are like the 3 biggest agency red flags that people need to be careful of, would you say?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's what I just mentioned. It's not number one. What are they focusing on in terms of their services? Are they focusing on web-based solutions and physical products? Do they market those? And mobile app marketing, and maybe app development, and like all these different things? Or do they exclusively, understand the mobile app marketing space? Do they exclusively offer app marketing services? And is it full service? Can they support you on all aspects? Because again, there's some that are out there that all they're going to do is maybe app store optimization, but they're not going to do video production, consulting. They're not going to be able to help with scaling paid ads, etc. So you really need to, the red flag is understanding those services that they offer, and are they the best in the world at what they offer? The other red flag would be, again, where are they located? Do they have offices in Pakistan, Ukraine, or India, or anywhere in the Middle East? And is that the services being done in those locations, and just kind of produced in the US is another red flag as well.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to ask you to repeat that. But in any case, okay. I only have one more question for you, Sean. So one thing that I did want to ask is, what are the 5 best practices for fostering strong partnerships between app developers and marketing agencies, would you say?
And that's a great question, because it's something that most people don't realize and don't understand. It is the relationship between the app development company and the app marketing agency, because most come to us and they don't really talk about the app development side, really focusing on more of just the CEO or the founder of the app and their vision for the marketing, and not understanding what's kind of how they work together. And the better that we can work with the app development company, the more successful the app will be, purely because, again, I'll mention these 5 pieces. Number one is having clear communication channels, being able to check in and be able to provide transparent reporting to be able to ensure the alignment is there in terms of their goals and what they're looking to achieve, and has the app been developed the right way to be able to achieve that specific goal. Number 2 would be a mutual understanding of KPIs. Agree on key performance metrics early on in the partnership, so that we know that we can achieve those goals. The developers obviously are going to be the ones that are also incorporating certain analytics tools and attribution tools. And so having us to be able to relate to the developers, hey, we need to make sure that the app is tracking X, Y, and Z to be able to reach these KPIs. It's important that we are tracking the right initiatives, because again, you can't improve what you don't measure. And so we need to make sure that we are measuring all of these different components when it comes to not only the source of acquisition, whether the download is coming from Apple Search, or is it coming from TikTok, or is it coming from a referral, and then that user, as they come through, are they actually using the app? Where did they drop off? Why did they drop off? How can we get them back in terms of retention and push notifications? And all of those actually are more of a technical thing, not a marketing thing, in terms of making sure that those are actually in place. Number 3 is collaboration on creative. Work together on messaging and creative strategies to ensure consistency within the app in terms of the functionality of the app and then the marketing of the app itself. Number 4 would be flexibility on a pivot. Majority apps out there, every successful app that you can imagine, whether it's Snapchat, Instagram, Uber, they didn't start off where they are today, right?
Yeah.
They had a different solution. They had a different marketing tactic. They had a different targeted user. They had different features. And over time, they pivoted multiple times to be able to really find their groove, to be able to provide the right solution and then scale accordingly. That's going to meet the needs of their ideal user. And so number 4, again, is flexibility to be able to pivot and to be able to adjust strategies based on real-time data is key. And then 5 would be trust and transparency. Strong partnerships are built on trust, being transparent about expectations and challenges and being able to support each other. We work with a ton of different app development companies out, over the years, and have relationships and partnerships with many to be able to work with them to be able to not only create a quality app, but a quality app that's actually going to be successful because it's marketed effectively.
Curious about what top brands look for when choosing an agency? Tune in to our latest episodes where we reveal the decision-making secrets of leading brands. Subscribe to the Design Rush podcast and stay ahead of the competition.